So neutral sodium fluoride, stannous fluoride, APF, fluoride varnish, fluoride containing restorative materials. So these are the most common example of restorative material is your glass ionomer cement. Then fluoride releasing devices which are placed onto the topical or on the superficial surface of the teeth or either on the buccal or on the palate, mostly buccal aspects or the facial surfaces which slowly release fluorides. So these are examples of professionally applied, and self-applied are the most common example is your dentifrice, that is your toothpaste, your mouth rinse, gels, chewing gums, and toothpicks and floss, where the fluoride has been impregnated and the patient can apply it. Fine. So this is about professionally applied and self-applied. And today we'll be discussing about the most important type of three topical fluorides. One is neutral sodium fluoride, stannous fluoride, and APF. We'll be discussing about the three. So what are the indications for a topical fluorides? The first is caries active individuals. It means that those individuals in which the caries are high, it can be identified with the help of DMFT index, or it could be either by a karyogram or caries activity test. So those individuals in which the caries status or the risk for developing caries is high, definitely they are indications for topical fluorides. Then children soon after the eruption of tooth eruption. So ideally it is been considered as an age of once the teeth is been erupted, that period of 2 to 4 years. 2 to 4 is very critical. So this is a period where the tooth is undergoing post-eruptive maturation. So the tooth process is undergoing maturation. So this period is considered as very crucial, and the teeth or the type of enamel in the teeth will be very porous in nature because they are not undergone the maturing process. So the teeth enamel will be very porous, and since the porous enamel absorbs or penetration of fluoride will be more easier, more faster in this type of enamel. And people who take a medication which decrease the salivary flow. So salivary flow or salivary rate, fluoride is very crucial in determining caries. So those individuals having a compromised oral health status have to take, or it is ideal for topical fluoride application. Periodontal surgeries where the tooth has been exposed, that is a cementum portion, the cementum of the tooth once after a surgery. If the root surface has been exposed, so there are high chances that the patient might develop dental caries or cemental caries or root caries. So a topical fluoride has been effective. Patients with fixed and removable processes or after placement of restorations. Here again, the oral cavity or oral status will be compromised. Eating disorders. The literatures and many studies have proven that eating disorders, individuals with eating disorders like anorexia nervosa, and bulimia. So these are the most common to eating disorders. So these individuals are prone to have a very compromised oral health status. Clear? So that is the reason why in even those individuals, it is ideal to apply topical fluorides. Mentally and physical challenged children whom the manual dexterity will be compromised, the oral health status will be poor, oral hygiene status will be poor. So in them, it is indicated too. So at any point of time, a topical fluoride is the best choice depending upon age, education, oral health habits, and physical dexterity. So age is a very important factor. As I told you, topical fluorides or any preventive techniques, the most ideal age is always a younger age. A tooth, in the point of view of a tooth, the best age for topical application is as soon as the tooth erupts. Now let's see sodium fluoride. It was first described by Beebe in the year of 1941. Later, the technique was developed by Knudsen in the year of 1942, which required 4 visits. It is having a pH of 7. That is the reason why sodium fluoride is at times called as neutral sodium fluoride. The caries reduction is 30 to 40%. So this range is important, 30 to 40%. A sodium fluoride solution is prepared by 2%, that is 20 gram of sodium fluoride dissolved in 1 liter of distilled water. That is 20 grams in 1000 ml of water or 1 liter of water. So that is your sodium fluoride. And it is been stored in a plastic bottle. So very important is your the reaction of this particular particulars, all solutions with the glass. So that is a reason why sodium fluoride can be even stored in a plastic bottle, but does even in a plastic bottle, it does unlike your other what you say, yes, stannous fluoride and your other topical fluorides, they have corrosive actions with other products wherein which they store. They have some products has to be freshly prepared. So sodium fluoride in that term is very stable and it does not have any issues. So sodium fluoride, that method of application of sodium fluoride is known as Knutson's technique. So this is the person who proposed the technique is known as Knudsen, and this technique is known after him. So the treatments are given in a series of 4 appointments. Very important. In sodium fluoride, you give 4 appointments, which is in a period of 1 week. There is a 1 week gap between each procedure. So 1 week gap, 4 appointments are done, and they are done at the age of 3, 7, 11, and 13. So a sodium fluoride has to be applied in all these age groups, which corresponds to the eruption of different groups of primary and permanent teeth. We can look in that these are the age where we can actually estimate the eruption pattern or the eruption features of a teeth. That is 3 till 3. Over a period of 5, we can know that all primary teeth will be erupted. 7 is important for permanent molars. Again, for 11 and 13, by the age of 13, almost all permanent teeth will be completely erupted. So that is what it relate to the age. And each age, if 3 year, you have to apply 4 visits to the dentist for 4 application at 1 week gap. So that is what 4 appointments and 4 age groups. The first steps becomes oral prophylaxis or cleaning of the tooth, thorough cleaning. You can use a slurry of pumice to clean the tooth. Thorough isolation followed by drying of the tooth is very important, because only in the dry tooth surfaces the fluoride acts better. So isolation is very critical in all preventive procedures. And once isolation and drying is been done, you can apply topical fluoride by a technique. So here the technique what we use in sodium fluoride is paint on technique. You try to paint on the tooth surface, paint on technique with the use of a unit tufted brush. So the mechanism of action of sodium fluoride, the sodium fluoride first react with hydroxyapatite crystals, which results in the formation of calcium fluoride. So a peculiar feature in sodium fluoride is the calcium fluoride which forms a very thick layer of calcium fluoride, which interferes with the further infusion of or diffusion of fluoride onto the tooth surface. So this prevention of further infusion of fluoride into the tooth surface caused by this calcium fluoride is known as chalking effect. So it is simply that calcium fluoride formed on the tooth surface, it does not allow further entrapment or further movement of fluoride into the tooth surface. It blocks in a way. So that is known as a chalking effect. And it is because of formation of calcium fluoride. And once the calcium fluoride is formed, to an extent it leaches, fluoride is being leached from that, and it is available into the oral cavity, that is your saliva. And this fluoride reacts with the hydroxyapatite, and fluoridated hydroxyapatite is being formed. So this is the most important product here, fluoridated hydroxyapatite. So this is a desired product what we want, which it is a most stable product, that fluoridated hydroxyapatite. So once sodium fluoride is applied, the fluoride and the calcium reacts to form calcium fluoride. This calcium fluoride gets accumulated onto the tooth surface, which prevents a further entry, which is known as chalking effect. Again, the fluoride dissolute from this calcium fluoride and release onto the oral cavity, where it has been again absorbed and form fluoridated hydroxyapatite. So sodium fluoride is advantages are in terms when compared to other fluorides. All these advantages and disadvantages and in comparison of other fluorides. So it is stable and it is acceptable by patients. It is not irritating to gingiva, does not cause any discoloration. So all these are when compared to your stannous fluoride. So all these comparisons are done on the basis of other fluorides. So sodium fluoride is comparatively more stable, more acceptable by the patient. The only disadvantage what sodium fluoride is about the 4 visits and the 4 ages. Clear? Next is your stannous fluoride. So all the generations of fluoride has been introduced on the basis of some limitations of the previous generation. So sodium fluoride has its own limitations, that is with respect to the caries reduction, with respect to the penetration, and the amount of formation of this calcium fluoride. So they found that another preparation, that is stannous fluoride, was shown to be better effective in terms of caries reduction. So the stannous fluoride has been available in 2% or two solutions. One is 10%, another is 8%. Whereas we know that sodium fluoride is just 2%, only 1%, which is prepared by 20 grams. Whereas you have your stannous fluoride is 10, and 8. Whereas 10 is for adults and 8 is for children. That is what the literature says. 8 is for children. As again, there is no studies which prove that there is a difference between if these two solutions, but these are used on basis of adults and children. So stannous fluoride always has to be freshly prepared. That is why the comparison has been done with sodium fluoride, that it is stable and it is not needed to prepare it fresh. Whereas stannous fluoride is unstable, it forms cloudy appearance. On leaving it, it forms cloudy appearance. It appears to be cloudy, and it is because of formation of hydroxides, either tin hydroxide. This hydroxides, that is the stannous fluoride, on exposure to the atmosphere, it reacts with the OH ions and it forms hydroxides. These hydroxides make the preparation cloudy, the one limitation. It is prepared by 0.8 grams in 10 ml. Your sodium fluoride was 20 in 1000 ml, 20 grams in 1000 ml. Everything is in grams. So 20 grams 1000 ml or 1 liter. Here it is 0.8 in 10 ml. Clear? The technique known as Muller's technique. Sodium fluoride is what's Knudsen's, and this is Muller's technique. So here the technique, procedure, everything is same. Only one addition what they have explained the text is the application of floss, followed by oral prophylaxis, thorough isolation. You do a flossing with unwaxed. You have two types of floss. You have waxed and unwaxed. But when you're applying topical fluorides, you use unwaxed floss. This is being recommended because the waxed floss might interfere with the fluoride absorption onto the tooth surface. So unwaxed floss is used. Again, paint on technique you use for paint on technique. So both sodium fluoride and stannous fluoride, you can do a paint on technique where the quadrants are being separated. Each quadrant wise you apply under thorough isolation. And always the solution is being left for 4 minutes. Clear? So that is very important, where whenever you are applying sodium fluoride or stannous fluoride or even APF, this fluoride solution has to remain onto the tooth surface for a continuous contact period of 4 minutes. So this time you have to remember that contact period has to be 4 minutes. And this is the reason why they talk about this 4 minutes is minimum this much time the fluoride has to be present onto the tooth surface. And even once the solution has been taken off or the application has been removed, there should be a remnant fluoride present inside the oral cavity, which can give some residual effect onto the tooth surface. So for that residual action, you need at least 4 minutes of continuous application of fluoride onto the tooth surface. Fine. So when in terms of stannous fluoride, you have two concentration, that is low concentration, high concentration. So tin hydroxyphosphate and calcium fluoride has been formed in low concentration. And this tin hydroxyphosphate, which can be remembered with the mnemonic THP. So this tin hydroxyphosphate is responsible for the metallic taste of stannous fluoride. The metallic taste is caused by tin hydroxyphosphate. Whereas in high concentration, it forms calcium trifluorostannate, CTF, calcium trifluorostannate, and TTP, fluorophosphate. Calcium trifluorostannate and tin trifluorophosphate. So this tin trifluorophosphate is a very important compound because this is the compound which makes the teeth stable and prevent from decay. Right? So these two compounds has to be remembered. One is tin hydroxyphosphate and tin trifluorophosphate. And calcium fluoride is an invariable product, that is inevitable product which is formed when topical fluoride has been applied. So these are the byproducts formed. So there are 3 byproducts predominantly and 1 common byproduct. So tin hydroxyphosphate, calcium trifluorostanate, and tin trifluorophosphate plus calcium fluoride. The fluoride concentration is just what we talked about, 8%, 8% and 10%, 8% and high percentage. Some of the disadvantages of this stannous fluoride. Very commonly they ask about questions from stannous fluoride about the disadvantages. One is unstable because of the formation of hydroxide, tin hydroxide or stannous hydroxide, simple OH minus. This makes the solution cloudy. That is, it becomes a fogged appearance, a smoked up appearance. Then you have something called as astringent taste or metallic taste, very classical disadvantage of stannous fluorides. Whenever you get any questions regarding which is solution causes astringent taste or metallic taste, it is your stannous fluoride. That is the tin, presence of tin compounds cause that metallic taste. It causes irritation or blanching of the soft tissues, especially the marginal gingiva. The marginal gingiva become blanched because of it has localized vasoconstrictive properties. So tissue irritation is caused. And again, reporting the teeth get a brownish, blackish pigmentation because of this stannous fluoride on a prolonged period of prolonged usage. So these are the disadvantages of stannous fluoride. Now let's see the third type of topical fluoride, which is known as acidulated phosphate fluoride or APF. So acidulated phosphate fluoride is APF. It comes under percentage is 1.23 percentage. 1.23 percentage. The first one, sodium fluoride, was 2 percentage. Then stannous we commonly use 8 percentage or 10 percentage. And you have what you call APF, which is 1.23 percentage. So the 20 again, the APF is the same ditto how what we learned in your sodium fluoride, that is 20 gram in 1 liter. This much is same like what we learned in sodium fluoride. The addition is you add 0.1 molar phosphoric acid and 50% hydrofluoric acid. So there are 2 acids added here. So till stannous fluoride, it was believed that when a product which can form calcium fluoride or an organic product like stannous or compounds can act with fluoride and impart little more caries preventive properties. But later they found that if the environment around the tooth surface is acidic, if you create an acidic environment, the absorption of fluoride is higher. That is when the pH is less. That is acidic environment, the pH that is created, when you create an acidic environment, the fluoride absorption onto the tooth surface becomes more faster, more rapid. So that is the reason, again, they changed the concept till stannous fluoride in APF, where they added acids like your phosphoric acid, hydrofluoric acid to reduce the pH. Clear? They reduce the pH to 3. Fine. So again, in APF, acidulated phosphate fluoride, a gelling agent known as methyl cellulose or hydroxyethyl cellulose has been added. Methyl cellulose or hydroxyethyl cellulose. This is the gelling agent being added. So the gels what we usually use in topical fluorides are times called as thixotrophic gels. Thixotrophic gels, THY thixotrophic gel. So these are type of gels which yield under pressure. It means that the solution will be in a kind of semi-viscous type, and when we try to press it against, or when you try to force it against any pressure, it yields. So usually your impression materials are, some impression materials are like thixotropic. It's like semi-viscous. You apply onto the tooth surface. When a pressure has been applied, this material actually become very flowable, and it flows onto all the tooth surfaces. And if it is let for some time, it again sets and contracts, and it becomes adaptable to the tooth surface. So that type of material is called as thixotropic, which yield to pressure. So this property, again, acidulated phosphate gels. Some gels have this thixotropic properties where it can flow into the finite areas or interdental areas. Technique here, we use certain trays called as foam trays. So the APF has to be applied by tray technique, not paint on technique. You apply it by tray technique. So you have custom trays or prefabricated trays like this, which are called as foam trays, disposable trays, where you place this particular solution less than 5 ml. You have a small depression trough. You just place the solution till 1/3 of that trough, and you place into the oral cavity, let it remain for 4 minutes, and you ask the patient to expectorate, that is forcefully spit the solution what is remaining after 4 minutes. So after 4 minutes, you discard the trace, and definitely the little bit of fluoride will be there in the oral cavity, which should not be rinsed. You ask the patient to just expectorate, that is spit it out. Then you should ask the patient not to rinse or take anything at least for half an hour. This is that for the residual fluoride effect. The fluoride has to be there for certain. The most important part of this fluoride application is the retention. The fluoride should retain onto the tooth surface at least for a minimum period to form this fluoridated hydroxyapatite. So before that, if you just flush it away, there won't be any effect for this fluoride application. So that is the reason why 4 minutes has been very critical. So here in APF, a very important compound what we need to learn is called as a very important compound as dicalcium phosphate dihydrate. So as I told you, when this acidic compound is placed on the tooth surface, definitely there will be a lot of acidic environment. The tooth crystals, hydroxyapatite crystals, because of the acids, it causes shrink. It gets shrinked and shrinkage. So this shrinkage leads dehydration of these crystals, which an intermediate product is formed called dicalcium phosphate dihydrate. Right? So there is a dehydration and shrinkage of crystals resulting in DCPD, dicalcium phosphate dihydrate. So this is the compound which reacts with fluoride ions and leads to formation of fluorapatite. Fine. So that is the mechanism of action in APF, acidylated phosphate fluoride. So the advantages are, you have this compared to the sodium fluoride. We saw that in sodium fluoride, you have 4 applications, different age groups. Here, APF just have either annual or biannual application. That is once in a year or twice in a year. They are very stable and stored and ready for use, and does not produce any staining of the teeth. And has the ability to deposit fluoride to a deeper depth. It is the reason because it causes shrinkage. So there is a penetration of fluoride into the enamel. And the caries reduction is 30 to 40%. Fine. So here the textbook says the caries of sodium fluoride, the caries reduction is 30%. Stannous fluoride slightly higher of 32%. And APF, it is said to be 28. That is given in one of the standard textbooks. But this goes in the range. 30 to 40. APF also has a caries reduction up to 30 to 40, because some MCQs are being asked, the answer is 30 and 40%. Clear? So always it's better to keep the range. A few textbooks have a range is different, so I've clubbed that and kept the range at 30 to 42%. If you get any values between that will be the best answer. And it can be recommended for home use or self-application without any supervisions. So these are the advantages of acidulated phosphate fluoride. A disadvantage is, again, this solution has been reported to have slightly acidic sour or bitter taste, though flavoring agents or flavoring APF gels are available. But as a product, because of the acidic environment which has been created because of the acids added, it is slightly acidic, sour, and bitter in taste. It cannot be stored in glass containers because it reacts with the silica. So it corrodes. So that is the reason this is a solution which cannot be stored in glass container. Repeated or prolonged exposure of the porcelain or composite restoration to APF can result in loss of minerals, surface roughening, and possible cosmetic change. So it is a very important point to be noted. Don't get confused with stannous fluoride, because even stannous fluoride causes pigmentation, but APF is very clearly it affects the tooth colored restorations. It causes loss of minerals and roughening, and some cosmetic changes means some discoloration to term effect because of the acidic compounds. So very important, and try to differentiate between stannous and APF. Fine. So these are about our three important topic of fluorides. Fine. I hope it is clear. And any doubts, you can please ask me. And now we'll just see a few more questions because before we wind up, let me see how much you are able to answer the MCQs what we get. Yeah. So the first one is the 4-visit procedure of Knudsen technique is recommended at which age? Which is the age where we recommend? Yes, very good, very good. Very good, very good. Nidisha, Gajapriya, Hemant, Shifa, Monica, Prakriti, very good, thank you. So all are correct. It is a direct question, and they have asked many times the age. It is 4 ages, 3, 7, 11. Remember, 3, 7, 11, 13. The first goes in a 4-year period, 3, 7, 11, and last one is 13. So that is the age. 4 visits. Each age you take, you have to go for 4 visits in period of what do you say, 1 week interval. So what is the classical phenomena you see with sodium fluoride? What was it? What was the effect you see in sodium fluoride, also called as? Where there is an accumulation of calcium fluoride, it forms a thick layer of, very good, Dr. Monica. Good, good. It is called as chalking effect. It is because of the formation of what? Chalking effect is because of the formation of chalking effect is because of the formation of calcium fluoride. Very good, good. So that is all about your sodium fluoride. Sodium fluoride is, what is the pH of sodium fluoride? pH of sodium fluoride. What was the pH of sodium fluoride? 7. That is the reason why it is called as neutral sodium fluoride. Very good. Fine. So here answer is option B, as you all told. Good, good. All of you are correct. The compound causing pigmentation after stannous fluoride application is, which is the compound which causes pigmentation? Which compound causes pigmentation? All these compounds are formed. All these 4 compounds are formed, and this compound calcium fluoride is a common product which forms in almost all the topical fluoride, irrespective of whatever the other products form. Calcium fluoride will be formed. Very good. All of you are correct. Here it is tin hydroxyphosphate. Tin hydroxyphosphate is the one which is responsible for the what we call pigmentation, or we can call it as the brown or the metallic taste, astringent taste, everything. So which is the compound which is responsible for making a teeth stable or making it anti-caries? Okay, anti-caries properties, or making the teeth more stable. Which is that product? Which was the product which make it more stable? Yes, just TTF. We told about TTF, right? Tin and stannous are all same. It is a tin trifluorophosphate. Clear? It's all the same. Stannous, tin, both comes interchange. It's same. It is that the product which makes the stable, it is the most important product of the stannous fluoride when it reacts. The intermediate product formed after acidylated phosphate fluoride is applied on the teeth is, what is the intermediate product? Very good, Priya. Very good. Prakriti, good, good. It is a dicalcium phosphate dihydride. So that is the most important product or byproduct, I can say, formed during application of APF gel. Fine. So that is all about today's session. If you have any doubts, you can just comment on the chat box. I can clear it. Any doubts or anything you want me to repeat? So for public health dentistry, I would really insist you to read about 2 textbooks, which is one is your familiar textbook called as Soben Peter 6th edition. Please buy a 6th edition. That is, it has the most recent things, and there is a pretty lot changes in the chapter, the pattern they have written the book. So 6th edition is very important. It's a must. Then you have a textbook called as SS Hiramath, which is very good for preventive procedures and fluorides, etc. So apart from that, I think your pulse is good enough, and the notes what we give. that covers our PhD. So apart from, that in NEET they ask a lot about uh, problems of biostatistics too, and that we'll be talking more in detail about in our regular classes. Fine. So I hope there is no doubt. There are no doubts. Fine. So shall we all wind up? So thank you all for your very good. Thank you, Prakati. Thank you, Pratik.